Oh, wow. Hey, is that the Great Reset over there? Or are people really getting excited for Black Friday this year? Who knows? Because the mainstream media lies about everything. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Ukradowski here of WeAreChange.org. And oh boy, do we have a lot of important news to get into today, as many people are turning their backs to the presidency of the United States, along with their insane draconian policies, which more and more people are speaking out against, including even Democratic governors, federal judges, and of course, even Aaron Rodgers. What's happening here? What's going on? There's a new anti-parasite pill. We're going to be explaining that, plus a lot more, all in this broadcast. And the video that we started off today with is, of course, from London, where people there celebrated the 5th of November recently. Looks like a pretty wild time, to say the least. But hey, it's important to remind everyone that there have been massive protests all over the world that have not been gaining significant media attention, like this one, where you're seeing an endless crowd of protesters in Melbourne, Australia, going against a domestic passport system implemented against them. While in the United States, there's still wild cheers for Brandon almost at every sporting occasion. Why are people protesting so much? Well, obviously, we have an out-of-touch bureaucracy in charge with the national security state that's doing the bidding of the multinational corporations that truly run things around society. And hey, a lot of people are realizing that. Another perfect example of a runaway national security state that has no invested interest in protecting or serving the American people is the latest developments that just happened to Project Veritas, as we're learning today that the FBI has raided a number of Project Veritas journalist homes over the alleged diary of Ashley Biden. Now, it's important to note here that Project Veritas held off on publishing the contents of this diary that they were given because, quote, they couldn't verify its authenticity. The FBI now intervening here, according to some, validates that this diary was real. According to many sources, there was extremely eye-opening revelations in it, but with the FBI directly intervening here and looking the other way when other documents of other administrations and other private information was, of course, stolen, definitely highlights how the FBI is an extremely political body that is acting more partisan by the day. In related absolute failures of U.S. intelligence agencies, along with criminal misconduct of the national security state, we have this revelation coming out today that the U.S. Virgin Islands just served a subpoena to a major banking institution of the world, Barclays, so they could fully understand what was happening with Jeffrey Epstein, a man that over 30 years, according to many criminal experts, was being protected, aided, and abetted by the federal intelligence agencies, was able to, of course, harm thousands of children in unspeakable ways. He was able to do this with cooperation from major banking institutions like Deutsche Bank that looked the other way many times, and was even fined $150 million for illegally helping Epstein move his money, which of course was used for his international trafficking and extortion operation. How was Barclays involved here? Well, we're going to find out, and of course we're going to be keeping a close eye on this story. Now, as the politicians in your government that you pay for with your tax dollars are protecting individuals like Jeffrey Epstein, it's also important to note that they're implementing a great reset as we're speaking right now, with of course cheeky slogans like Build Back Better, that are leading to absolute devastation for the average human being, especially if you own a small business or are even considered being a part of the ever-shrinking middle class. Prices have skyrocketed, travel has been limited and restricted in many ways. There's some airports warning that it could take up to 8 hours to fly internationally. The prices of energy have skyrocketed, as of course the global supply chain has been shattered. But of course, all of this is in the name of progress, as of course many influential billionaires like Bill Gates say things like people are living beyond their means, as of course he flies around in his private jets, has of course super yachts, and lives on beachfront property in a mansion. And that's why, to celebrate such stoic, important individuals like Bill Gates that are so instrumental in our culture and society, we of course made the real Island Boys t-shirt that I am extremely proud of wearing right now, highlighting of course Bill Gates mandates in its true form with one of his best friends, Jeffrey Epstein, on here. Now, if you want this shirt and many others like it, definitely go check out thebestpoliticalshirts.com, as of course we have a lot of very amazing t-shirts that we keep developing new ones of almost every few days. Definitely get yours while you still can, as of course there's major supply chain shortages. I would definitely get our Epstein Christmas sweater soon so you can have it ready for the holidays. We also just released our LGB 2024 shirt, and of course all of these shirts are exclusively available on thebestpoliticalshirts.com, which is my shirt that I had to create because that was demonetized here on this YouTube channel. And sincerely thank you, YouTube, for doing so, because I have let my creative juices flow in a way that's spreading the message so much more than I could have ever imagined. Wearing these shirts is a form of activism. It's a form of spreading the message, getting the information out there to the general public in quick, snarky, fun, entertaining ways. You are sure as hell likely to meet a fellow like-minded individual just by wearing these types of shirts. You will get new friends, help spread the message, all by simply getting a shirt. The one form of communication that yet still, for right now, can't be censored. So yeah, website's in the description below. Click on it right now. Now, with the vast amount of protests that we have been seeing all around the world, far more extensive amounts of protests than, of course, the mainstream media like to tell you about, I think it's fair to say that a lot of people feel discontent with their government, with the institutions that are supposed to represent them, and especially with the institutions that are supposed to inform them, which, let's be honest here, have been doing an absolutely horrible job. A perfect example of this is, of course, the Biden administration imposing a mandate, a decree that demands that a vast majority of the general public comply with the whims of government when it comes to an intrusive medical procedure that is not right for everyone. This, of course, is being pushed with an internal domestic passport system, and I think it's fair to say that a vast majority of people are saying, hey, I really don't like this, and there's some serious implications when it comes to people's civil liberties when it comes to implementing this. To the point where even a Democratic governor, the governor of Kansas, came out and said that these mandates are something that she can't even support, saying that this policy, quote, doesn't serve as a solution for Kansas. This as over 10 states already filed lawsuits against the Biden administrations against this policy, as a Fifth Circuit judge just blocked this mandate because of violations over the U.S. Constitution. Now, this is a temporary ban. The Biden administration will be able to respond to this. How will this very important federal court proceeding unfold? Well, of course, we're going to be following it very closely, as this is another major blow against the Biden administration and the restrictions, fines, violations, and controls that it wants to implement on the average American. And from my own personal perspective, one of the biggest pushbacks that have been happening against this administration has been happening culturally, as of course many musicians, celebrities, movie stars, and prominent activists have been coming out and speaking about these mandates that have been negatively affecting them in one way or another. One of the latest, biggest superstars to recently come out against these mandates is, of course, Super Bowl champion and two-time MVP quarterback Aaron Rodgers, that just came out in a 47-minute interview on the Pat McAfee show, where he absolutely obliterated the narrative and agenda that was being forced down everyone's throats by the U.S. mainstream media. And during this interview, Aaron Rodgers spoke very eloquently, and he raised many important questions that have been raised before that haven't been answered by this administration or, of course, Dr. Fauci, especially when it comes to the effectiveness of this procedure being mandated, the lack of liability by the producers or pushers of this procedure, specifically even detailing his own medical history with allergies to specific ingredients in this procedure, which prevents him from taking it, saying, quote, "I believe strongly in body autonomy. Health is not one size fits all for everybody. You have a right to make decisions about your body. That should be an inalienable right." And Aaron Rodgers brought up an important point here, an important angle to this entire debate that I think is relevant here. I think should be thought out. I think should be questioned. I think should be at least debated, to say the very least, since, of course, his comments and questions were right on the money. Aaron Rodgers also, in that entire 47-minute long interview, talked about how he was talking to Joe Rogan about how to handle this sickness. He talked about a readily available medicine that we can't even mention here on this YouTube channel, how he was taking this readily available medicine himself, which, according to him, Big Pharma is making knockoff versions of in order to get record profits. And it is important to note here that there are many big pharma agencies that are creating antiviral, anti-parasitic pills that have been showing to have breakthroughs when it comes to fighting this sickness. The mainstream media is calling this a new wonder pill that significantly slashes the risk of vulnerable people being hospitalized or dying from this sickness. And again, the debate to be had here, I could only really seriously discuss on LukeUncensored.com, where it is only safe to discuss this issue and the larger context of what Aaron Rodgers said. I will be discussing that in tomorrow's video on LukeUncensored.com. In a recent previous video, I also detailed how Joe Rogan personally helped me, but we have to realize that the fact that this is being discussed out in the open to millions of people with national media talking about this is a major, significant step forward when it comes to having an actual, real conversation and debate about these issues in a real way that is not constrained, that is not controlled, that is not limited to a spectrum of an agenda that's being forced on a lot of people. Now, what will happen to Aaron Rodgers here? Well, we're getting some information that some organizations are dropping their partnership with him. The NFL announced that he could face fines if there was allegedly some violations related to the sickness, but so far he is not even suspended. And the fines would be if he went out of his way knowing that he was sick and tried to infect people, which I don't think happened here. We do know that Rodgers did test positive for the sickness earlier this week. He said he talked to Joe Rogan. He said he got early treatment, and he looks like he's doing really well. Aaron Rodgers also shared some very interesting insight and intelligence when it comes to the media landscape when he also recently said, quote, "The right is going to champion me and the left is going to cancel me. I don't give a S about either of them. Politics is a total sham. I'm not going on Fox News, just like I'm not going to go on CNN." And on that note, yes, nail on the head from my own personal perspective, from my own personal opinion. Absolutely right on the spot. And with someone who is as media savvy as Aaron Rodgers, it's definitely going to be interesting to see the spin that the mainstream media tries to put on all of this, even if they would dare to. And with the significance and influence of long-form, uncensored conversations like this making the rounds, getting seen by millions of people actually being able to talk like normal human beings without talking points, without an agenda, without a narrative, it's something that's absolutely incredible. And this kind of long-form, real conversation, I think, is definitely the way to go, as it's helping people see another side of the coin, of the story, of the narrative that, of course, they have never seen before. And I think that's pretty incredible. That's just my own personal perspective. That's just my own personal opinion. If you thought I was wrong, let me know why down in the comment section below. I always appreciate constructive criticism. If you liked the video, click like. If you disliked it, click the dislike button. I appreciate your feedback, and you guys watching and sharing these videos is one of the only ways that this video gets out there to the general public. And because you guys do that, this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.